In this video, I'd like to consider some job you'd like to do, have Bash do for you, and you want to do this job sort of periodically. It might be you want to back up periodically, or you might want to update periodically. You might want to clean up periodically, whatever it is. So I'm going to use at to sort of create a job, and then I want to sort of create jobs repeatedly, and I'll show a sort of a loop version and a recursive version. Okay, so here we start with the loop version. So I have my bin bash at the top, some comments. Starting here in 5, I'm using the sort of C style looping. So I have some variable I starting at 1. It's going to stay in the loop up to including when it's 5. It's incrementing by 1s. I could increment by 2s if I wanted to. I'm going to do something every 2 minutes. So I could have gone up to 10 by 2s, but I decided to go up to 5 by 1s, and then I did some multiplying within the loop anyway. Okay, so 5, 6, and 13, there's the for, the do, and the done. They're establishing my loop. I'm going to do something 5 times. Okay, in 8 is where I am creating a job using the at command. If you have not installed at, you might not have it. So I didn't originally have it with when I installed virtual Ubuntu machine on my computer, and so I had to run sudo apt install at to get that additional functionality. So in 8, I'm saying sudo at. So sudo is giving it permissions. So this I'm calling it a job. This job I am creating is going to belong to root. I want to say when I'm going to do this job, and so I'm basing it. You can sort of work with absolute times, but I'm working with minutes from now. So I say now, which gets the current time, and then I am adding to it a number of minutes. And so I'm doing a calculation. So I'm using my variable I. So it was $i. I wanted to multiply it by 2. So I use the $sign in double parentheses to get myself to calculate with this variable. And then I added my unit minutes. When you're on the command line and you say at, it sort of gives you a new prompt. And so you want to define the things that you do within that prompt. So I'm using this job delimiter thing. So it is telling me sort of the scope of the job, those things between the double, the arrow, less than job delimiter on line 8, and the job delimiter on line 12, that defines what is in the job. There's code that is outside of the job that loops over the jobs. Okay, so it was sudo, I gave it permissions. Add is setting up a job. Now is the time, and I'm doing it in 2 minutes from now, in 4 minutes from now, and 6 minutes from now. I'm setting up 5 jobs that will be 2 minutes, 4 minutes, 6 minutes, 8 minutes, 10 minutes from now. Job delimiter delimits the job. I learned the hard way. The indenting, I don't need to do the indenting. I like to do the indenting to help me see where things begin and end, but I cannot indent the job delimiter. That did not work. That needed to be smack against the beginning of the line. Okay, so I'm doing nothing interesting in this script. I am writing the date into places. One of them, the second one on line 10 in the current directory, but the first one, 9, is in a directory, in the var directory off of the root, and that required the permissions. So that just tests that the permissions do indeed work. And so again, from 6 to 13, from 5 and 5, 6 to 13, that establishes the loop. And at 14, I am just seeing that I'm doing sudo ATQ, and ATQ shows me this sort of what I'm calling the job queue. My job, since I ran with sudo, belonged to root. So when I want to see the queue, I also need sudo. So then I am looking at the queue with permission. So then I see all of the jobs. Okay, so let's have a go at that. So I'm going to say bash. I'm in documents. This is where that script is. So I'm doing bash loop job.sh, and it asked for my password because of the sudo. And then at the end, in line 14, I had the ATQ, the sudo ATQ, so it's showing me the job queue. And not sure why it doesn't put them in order, the queue. Like, I don't know why 38 appears before 37, but it does. And so the first job will run, job 37 will run at 7:44, according to my virtual machine, thinks it's in California. So it will run at, that first job will run at 7:44. So I've established sort of 5 jobs in this loop, and I've just used minutes. So in the next 10 minutes, then these jobs will execute, and I can see their output if I desire. So I think, but I will at least try to stall and wait to 7:44 and see that the one job has completed. There it is. And I have to run sudo ATQ to see the list. And so there it is with 37 now done. And if I wanted to kill one of these jobs, I don't want the one at 7:50 for whatever reason, then again, it belongs to the root. So I have to give myself permission to do these things, and then ATRM. So I'm removing an at job, and then give its number. What did I say? I didn't want the 41. And so now I've gotten rid of 40. So I can establish in a loop, I can set up a number of jobs, and where these are writing to thing2, so I can cat thing2. And I've run this sometimes before, and I was always appending, so you might see additional dates or times other than just the one that I just ran. So here were some earlier ones, but here's the 7:44 that I just ran. Okay. And then I can also see sudo cat var thing2.txt and see what's there. And that's the thing that I need the permissions for. Okay. So that is the loop version. So I can set up a number of jobs, some amount of time in the future. I'm doing it a small amount of time in the future so that we can see it in some of them happening within the time of this video. One more time. So again, I killed 40, and 37 and 38 have run. 39 and 41 still have to go, and I've killed 40. Okay. I'm going to close my terminal and open it back up. Move into documents. That's where I have things. Make it a little bit smaller. It doesn't need to be that big for me. And now I want to show you this recursive version. So this one I have, this is almost all comments except for 8 to 10, or sorry, 8 to 12. I have the bin bash. I didn't really need the bin bash in the loop because I was running it with the command bash from documents. But the recursive one is going to the file, the script recursive _ job is going to call itself, and therefore then I need the bin bash. So I'm not going to call it with the word bash. I'm going to call it just going to call it with its file name, and I'm going to make the file executable, or I have made the file executable. So then I need the bin bash. Let me show you that it is executable. So I'm gonna do a list with a bunch of permissions. I don't want to show you everything. I'll just show you this. So there is the file. I just went all out and gave it did change mode 777 and gave it sort of everybody has all permissions. Okay. So if you don't have @ you have to install @. I'm going to run this file just using its name for the most part, so I need to make it executable. I'm going to be in the folder where the script is, so I'm going to run it with / and the name. If I move the file to where I expect code to run, then I don't need the / and we have the path variable that tells us here are the locations on the computer where the computer is trained to look for executable. And if you were to put it in one of those places, then you can run it just by its name. But I'm not going to I didn't do that. I just want to show you these places. So these various places, user local sbin, user local bins, etc. Those are places where you can put an executable and the computer will know where to look for it. I'm going to run it in the current folder, and so I tell the computer to look for it in the current location by saying /. Okay, so I start a job in 8. I'm going to start a job. It's going to belong to the root. So I say sudo @. I'm going to do it in 2 minutes from now. And I have this job delimiter. In this case, I called it .at. So, and there it is in 12, and it begins the line. I don't indent that thing where it doesn't work. What I do is write something to the var directory. In thing3.txt, I write something to the current directory, and then I call this same file. So I'm calling this file recursively. It's calling itself, but it's in the job. Don't put it outside of the job, or it will call itself too quickly over and over again, and you'll have this sort of explosion of jobs. But if you're doing it at the end of this timed event, then just as this job is pretty much over, I'm starting a new job, and then you sort of get sort of one job at a time. So recursion is very convenient, but you've got to be careful with it, or you'll end up with this sort of explosion of jobs. Okay, so that was it. That's it. Does its thing and calls itself. So we'll set up a job. At the end of that job, it will establish a new job. That is the idea here. So I'm going to call this. I'm going to use, since it is executable, I can use it. And in this folder directory, then I can use this dot slash, and I need to spell the file name properly. And so there we are, dot slash recursive underscore job dot sh. I had the sudo, it established job 42. And if I do ATQ, which is wrong, I won't see it because it's the root's job. So I need to do sudo ATQ. And there is job 42. That 41 was the last job from the loop version. If you recall, I killed 40, but I left 41 there. So 41 is the last job from our loop version, and 42 is this new recursive version. So the idea will be, so if I do that again, so the loop version just finished off 41, but 42 is the new recursive version. And when the time comes at 7:53, according to my virtual machine, then that will do its thing, which is write something to a file, no big deal. And then it will call a version of itself. So 7:53 just went by. And so if I run sudo ATQ, now I have 43, which is going to run at 7:55. So the one job ended, and it recursively called the next version of the job. And let's see, that's in thing3. So let's cat thing3.txt. And again, I've run this before, and it's always appending, so you might see some previous times. But there was the 53, the one that just ran, and there's one that's going to run at 55. And we know I showed you how to kill the job one that was only the one. I'm sorry, in the loop, I showed you how to kill 40. It was ATRM. It was sudo ATRM because this job belongs to the root. And so that's what I wanted to show you, that I can set up a bunch of jobs, a finite number of jobs, say in a loop, but I can make this 100. I can make a lot of jobs, or I can play this recursive game and just sort of, when one job is done, set up the next one. You might want to use this something again. You might want to do updates periodically. You might want to do backups periodically. You might want to clean up some temporary folders or something like that periodically. So either the looping or the recursion can give you this periodic job to do this, whatever it is. Okay, so now I blathered on long enough, so it's 7:55. And 43 finished, and it created 44. And there is the 7:55, that job. And if I do sudo cat var thing3.txt, I can see the one, that's the one that requires the permissions. So that's what I wanted to show you. Sort of jobs either in a loop, so I set up a bunch of jobs all at once, or a recursive job, which sort of starts a new job at the end of the current job. All right, that's what I wanted to show you. Thanks very much for your attention. Oops, sorry, having trouble ending this. There we go.